SWEGTA! In 2013, I and a bunch of other members of the Bully modding community began development on a zombie mod entitled Bully Zombie Edition. In 2014, the mod was put on hold. It was then resurrected, in 2016. The mod was then put on pause again until 2017. In 2019, we revived the project once more, only to shelve it yet again in 2020. Now, in 2025, I decided to transfer the mod from my old PC so that we could have a close look at it together. Isn't that nice? Let's go do that now. Okay, I don't know how well this is gonna go. If it sucks, let me know in the comments. Okay, right off the bat, the game looks pretty normal, right? But then you press start, and they'll see what happens. I'm just loading a random save file that I have. The game died. Good start. You know, this is why it pays off to be prepared and have a bunch of backup saves, just in case. Come on, you bastard. Work. It's probably not good. It actually did, it booted up, nice. So, this is Bully Zombie Edition, and as you can tell, there are some debug things on the screen. I'm gonna explain why that is, why we have this area thing. So let's begin by leaving the dorm and see what happens. Okay, there's a zombie off in the distance. We have zombies. It's working as intended, at least in that one regard. There's another one, see? And what's cool about this is the fact that this is like the first thing that I ever did when it came to switching animations in the game, which is pretty hard to do, at least in my experience it is. Maybe there are easier methods now, but back in the day, this sort of thing was really difficult to accomplish. And as you can tell, they have zombie animations. Now, you might be wondering, what are these animations? Like, where do they come from? Because importing custom animations into Bully is not a thing we can do yet. So, how did we make them act like zombies? Well, if memory serves me right, these are some randomly occurring walking animations used by Pedro during Halloween and maybe some of the other students. Basically, on occasion, they'll do this kind of zombie walk thing. Yeah, we wanted to prevent zombies from climbing things. I don't know if this was a good idea, though. Let's see what happens. Okay, so there are some things that I want to explain when it comes to these animations. So, when the zombies have not noticed you yet, they will just shamble around aimlessly. You can see in the back there, you have a few of them that are just walking around like that, and then you have the ones that are approaching you, and they'll stretch out their arms as they walk towards you. And as they get up close, you'll see a bit of a difference in animation. They switch up, and then bam, they hit you. Still a bit iffy on the attack frequency. I don't want to brag too much, but I do want to give myself a smidge of a pat on the back for accomplishing this despite having no experience at all in stuff like this. And yes, these are meshes of different character models, and this is actually Algie's jacket from that one errand, where he's like, they stole my jacket, it's on the roof up there, help me, wah. I never understood why he gets Jimmy's help to retrieve that. Like, it's a ladder, you climb up and pick it up and you have it. I guess the AI in this game doesn't know how to use ladders. In fact, when Gary uses ladders at the end of the game during Final Showdown, that's specifically scripted. If you've ever found yourself being chased by enemies in this game, and you climb a ladder, they have no idea how to reach you. Anyway, back to this whole area thing. So you'll see that it says area default. That's just the general main map. However, if we make our way to this spot right here, it doesn't work, which is tremendous. Thank you. I'm gonna find a different build of this mod and showcase this, because it seems like we did some reworking on the scripts and it kind of broke this one feature. But basically, in different areas, you'll have different types of zombies. So if you head to the carnival, you'll see some people walking around with Billy Crane's Traveling Carnival t-shirts. And if you head to the burger joint right here, you'll see some burger staff zombies. Fast food worker zombies, I should say. Burger staff. Like I said, these zombies are made out of meshes of different characters. So, for instance, this zombie right there, I believe that's Mihailovich and one of the residents at the old folks home. You also have an Asylum zombie. I think we had plans on making more of those, but as a placeholder, we just had that one. Okay, so I think Jimmy's gonna pass out before I get there, but I will be showing you a bit of a bug in this game. Okay, so after waking up and not being devoured by the undead somehow, we've made our way here. Now this spot is kind of interesting to me and it doesn't directly tie into this mod in any way. It's just like a general developer oversight that you can even find normally in the game. But this spot right here, this little pond area, not only was there supposed to be water there that they never added, but this spot right here, it doesn't have any pathfinding for the, I was gonna say the zombies, but just heads in general. So you'll see they're just standing off in the distance, not doing anything, but if I leave, they'll come towards me, and if I head back down, they'll stop. Now here's a fun little factoid about these zombie skins. Most of them use Left 4 Dead textures for faces and arms and all that. It was intended to be a placeholder thing. I even got one of my friends, Aaron, to make some zombie models. You see this zombie cop with a half-eaten arm. And this was, of course, going to be based on the visual style of the game. But yeah, I mean, most, if not all of these zombies are just placeholders for the time being. We never got around to making that many of them. There are some additional ones that I haven't seen yet naturally spawn, and I believe that's because of the whole area thing. Now here's I was gonna say a fun fact, but it's more of a dumb fact. If you press down twice, it'll give you an error, because the debug menu has not been ported. Okay, so I'm gonna see if I can transfer a previous build into this game so that we can play that and hopefully get some more content for this video. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Windows 7. What do you mean I have no internet? I use it every day. Oh my god, look at those notifications. Come on, please give me fast food. Yes, there's one. See, I told you I wasn't lying. There's one right there.
Number 15, Burger King Foot.
You might have noticed they don't have health bars, and that is because we decided for whatever reason to hide them. At one point in development, when you knocked them out, they would play the knockout animation and be on the ground. Oh, hey look, rain, nice. That's cozy. They would play the knockout animation, lay on the ground, but as soon as they were on the ground, we would slow down their knockout animation to 0%, making them freeze, thus giving the player the impression that, oh, I've killed one of these things. I think there actually might be occasional dead bodies that you'll find in this as well. I don't know if that's in this specific build, but we'll see. Let's head to the carnival. I'll show you the carnival zombies while I'm at it. Oh god. Oh, well there's one right there. As you can tell, it's pinky for some reason. And this is kind of intimidating, looking at this. Sim sim salabim. Oh, there's another one. There's Tom. There he is. And there he goes. Oh yeah, here's another thing that is kind of interesting about this mod. If you hide anywhere, the zombies, they don't know how to pull you out of stuff. So if you hide in a trash can, they'll see you jump in there, they'll know you're there, they'll surround you, but they won't pull you out of it. That is not intentional. That is a bug that we never got around to fixing. And of course, as soon as you exit, this happens. You stand no chance, you're just dead. Not even gonna bother fighting back, you just let it happen. What if I play this splish splash thing? Is the game just gonna die on me? I bet it is. Nope. Okay. But yeah, here's what I was talking about before. You'll see how he kind of just shambles aimlessly like that. And then, when he spots me, he'll switch animation to this one. And upon getting close, he'll do that one. You know, this kind of like limp-wristed thing. Now I think this is pretty interesting because it communicates via animation to the player the state of the zombie and also the level of danger the player might find themselves in. So if they're off in a distance, you'll see this animation, meaning they haven't reached you yet. They're not close enough to do you any damage. But as soon as they switch animation to that one, now you should get away from them. Okay, let's see if we can find him. So it should be somewhere in this area. There he is. Found him. Spawning inside of another zombie somehow. Zombie defeated. Nice. You know, the cool thing about this too is that there's a limit to how many instances of certain zombies that can spawn. So for this one, like this fireman zombie, that's not like something that you see that often in real life. I mean, not just the zombie part, but just like firemen in general. Unless you live near a fire department or anything like that, you're probably not going to see them too frequently, right? We wanted to reflect that in this mod, so what we did was make certain zombies just kind of ambiently spawn, and then other ones ambiently spawn, but under certain conditions. Those conditions being the maximum amount of them that can spawn, how many instances of a certain model, the area in which they spawn. So for this particular zombie, we have it near the fire department, because that just makes sense. You would probably not see one of those zombies in, say, the carnival, because it's such a long distance away from this location where naturally those kind of peds would be. But then you have other stuff like cop zombies, which are more frequent because in the town of Bullworth, you just see cops pretty much everywhere in the game. I think we also intended on adding other variants of zombies, like hazmat zombies that you would see around the chem plant. Okay, I'm gonna try transferring another build of this mod. This one's from 2020. Hey, look at that, the old icons for this. I think I made this in Paint. There's even an unused install instruction PNG thing. Step 1, open scripts. Step 2, copy latest build from alpha folder on FTP, rename to zombie edition. Optionally add awesome folder icon. I wouldn't call it awesome, it's an icon, I'll give you that. Let's see what's on the to-do list. I guess we planned on having a first-person camera even. Start menu upon loading the game with 3 options: sandbox mode, debug mode, and minigame mode. Hunger, sleep, and thirst system. Okay, well this is interesting because Dorkless7 has been working on a zombie mod of his own, and in that one you do have a hunger and thirst system. So I thought that was kind of cool. We were not the only ones with that idea. Survivors have been disabled from spawning in order to make testing easier. Thanks to the Wii debug build, we now have access to all of the uncompiled.act files. So this debug build of Bully that I got on a Wii dev kit, it actually came in handy because now we have uncompiled.act files, which basically tell the game, okay, this type of ped uses this act file, therefore play the following animations under these conditions. This allows us to easily find and learn about action nodes, as well as quickly replace/disable certain animations. So I guess since I have the source files, I could modify this. I ended up spending over an hour trying to get survivors to spawn, but I eventually gave up and decided to have a look at some behind the scenes images instead. So here you go, enjoy. Alright, so after about an hour of getting nothing working and giving up on that eventually, I decided to have a look at some of the behind the scenes materials from this project, and I found a bunch of images and screenshots. So we're gonna have a look at that. Gang members. Gang members go by many different names and associations. One quality they all share in common is hostility towards fellow Bullworth residents, whether it be the player, rival gangs, or even friendly/neutral survivors who bear no ill towards the gangs. Most rival gangs will engage in fights over territory, supplies, and simply to convey a message. During these fights, it's wise to avoid engaging in them or even taking a side. Every single gang has its own unique base/fortress, where the player will most likely be attacked on sight if spotted. A member of the Looters, a loosely organized gang consisting of hardened criminals, former Asylum inmates, and dealers. The weakest type of gang member, but also the most common. Survivors will on occasion fight back and defend themselves, although it will often result in the gang member being victorious. So here you have a couple variants that we made, both of these being members of the Looters, by the way. Here's one using a spud gun, here's the model in 3ds Max, some of the carnival zombies that I mentioned before. Here's a civilian after suffering a grim fate. Oh, and this is actually the early version of the cop zombie that I showed before. Here you go, here's a civilian. Here's another civilian, but one that didn't make it. Now this one's bizarre. I have no idea how this happened. For some reason, this occurred in-game. I've only had this happen once, and I took a screenshot of it. I have no idea. I don't even know what this is. Okay, so here's a member of the Looters next to a couple of convicts. This is something else that we kind of aped from Dead Rising. There were going to be some escaped convicts across the map that would attack you on sight, and the thing with gang members is they would be hostile towards other gangs as well. So on occasion you would see looters fighting convicts and vice versa. Here's a civilian, another civilian, a civilian. We were proud of this. This was a pretty cool thing to add. Here's a sad zombie for some reason. Here's a screenshot that I took after surviving quite the onslaught. Likewise, a bunch of zombies this time. Oh, and I guess there is a looter over there. Here's Jimmy being attacked by a bunch of zombies. Now, if you pay attention, you'll notice they're using the crazy_basic fighting style. This is the fighting style used by the Asylum inmates during finding Johnny Vincent. They can also be seen using this during Galloway Away. The reason we decided not to use this one, despite the fact that they do have an attack where they jump on you and start biting you, we chose not to use that one because this fighting style is kind of buggy, and it also completely contradicted the idea that we had for making the zombies be slow. You know, initially they just ran towards you at full speed, and that was intense. That was a very interesting approach to this. But again, we wanted to make it more Romero style. So we ended up totally abandoning this fighting style and basically inventing our own, using various aspects of other fighting styles. Here's one of the convicts at the carnival. Now you'll notice right here, this is a little tattoo. This was inspired by Manson, and maybe it's a good thing that that didn't make it to the final cut of this. It was just an interesting idea that we had. Here are a bunch of zombies and a couple of convicts as well. Here's a close-up of a convict. We used Gurney for this one. We used his head model. And the cool thing is, as you can tell, this is the girl storm attic. So sometimes civilians and gang members and zombies could be seen inside interiors, and there was like a random chance depending on the location. Here's what the cafeteria looked like after I survived another wave. You know, one thing that the game loves to do is make NPCs do this cheering animation when you're fighting someone. It's to prevent the player from getting overwhelmed by multiple enemies attacking at once. But the problem with that is that it kind of ruins the flow if you're making a zombie mod, because you can't just have people cheering in the background during any kind of attack. So I don't remember how we bypassed that, but I think there was some kind of flag in the pet AI that we just changed to make them not do this. Oh, and by the way, to make the convict outfits, we just took Jimmy's, I believe, prisoner outfit, the unlockable, after completing all the detention minigames. We just applied that to some adults and then did some retexturing and slight changes to the facial model. Here's another goofy encounter that I came across in game. This is bizarre. This is like another one of those instances where I'm like, how does this even happen? I mean, you forget the zombie on the bike, but why is there two of them? And why is one on top of the other? Here we have some Spencer's shipping photos that I took. Just me getting attacked from looters and convicts hiding inside Spencer shipping. Here's another zombie facial expression situation where I can't tell if he's happy or frightened. Okay, zooming out, it appears that he's on a bike. So there's that. There you go. Here's a situation that I came across where you saw one of the looters fighting off a couple of convicts. This has nothing to do with anything, but sometimes in Blue Skies you'll see this happen. At this very spot. It's near the chem plant. The game will spawn a vehicle inside another vehicle for some reason. Here's another angle of that. Zombies inside the skate park. Pretty cool. Here's a cool shot that I took. I don't know where this is. It looks to be in Blue Skies or maybe a new commentary, but I'm not sure. A convict being bitten by a zombie, it appears. This character model was initially supposed to be a survivor, and then we zombified it, and we realized, hey, this actually works a bit better. Let's just have this be one of the zombies. There's a close-up of what they looked like pre-zombification, and here's after. There's a zombie. If you pay attention, you might recognize this face actually from Left 4 Dead 1. I don't remember exactly which head model we used for this, but as far as the body goes, this is Ian, one of the unused beta peds in the game. There's a bit of a close-up, side, another side, back, and side again. I don't think we're ever going to finish this project, if I'm going to be frank with you, but it is pretty cool looking back at all this stuff that we made and what ended up happening throughout the development process. It brings back a lot of fond memories, I'll say that. But as for whether or not we're ever going to release this, I have no idea. I mean, I'd have to talk to the other people involved and get their approval, and even then we're going to have to, like, package this in a way that makes it easy to install and run. There's also the small off chance that maybe one day we'll get back to it. I highly doubt it, if I'm going to be honest. I don't think that's ever going to happen, but you never know. But before I wrap up this video, I just want to say that we are working on something big. I have a team of people developing and testing something pretty amazing. I've had some people asking me recently about the announcement that I was teasing a few weeks ago, where I was saying that there's something big happening and there's going to be some big developments in the Bully community. Nothing official from Rockstar Games, as far as I know, but there is something big brewing that will be highly enjoyed by this community. Now, what is that thing? Well, I can't tell you yet because it hasn't been announced, but I do want to tell you that it is still in development. We have made a ton of progress since I last teased this project. But yeah, I had a few people asking me, oh, is that canceled? We haven't heard anything about that. Is that still going? Was the announcement made and I just missed it? What's going on with that, Sweg? Well, it is still in development. It is still happening. I'll keep you posted on that. But as soon as it gets announced, be there for it, because I guarantee you that it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think for years to come, at least until the day we see Bully 2, this will be one of the main things that people go to when they're itching for some new bully content. The point is, there is stuff happening. There's a lot of progress being made. This project needs a bit more time in the oven before we can even announce it. But I have gathered quite a bit of footage of it. Basically, the plan that I have is to put out a montage video / announcement. So be on the lookout for that. It's not going to happen any day now, but it will happen maybe next month or so, depending on how development proceeds, but we'll see. Oh, and by the way, before I end this video, join my Discord, link down below, 18+. Be there, or be square. Anyway, that's it for this video. You folks, as always, stay classy. Peace. I want to give a thank you to my channel members for supporting what I do here on YouTube. Ben Struble, Jake Johnson, The Synth Scream Collective, Golden Stripes, Yippee, Cobham Iyoita, Riley Who, Wardog1220, Zarpies, Volts, Hanauta, BardyX Official, Double X2, Andre, Ethan P, Majin151, Aboy XYZ, and Nerds Need Love Too. Nice name. I get the reference. You're awesome. If any of you watching this want to get your names read at the end of my videos just like this, and get access to some additional perks including behind the scenes stuff, then please consider becoming a channel member. Thank you and have an awesome day. Peace.